how to get the most out of an event. If you're going to an event or you're going to a conference or whatever it is, I'm gonna teach you guys 5 strategies to get the most out of it, to get the most value. You know, I remember when I first moved to San Francisco in 2008, this is a city, if you've never been there, especially in the startup world, there are probably 2 or 3 events happening every freaking night. So I went to probably a dozen. I was like, well, I'm not really getting anything out of this. What can I change up? What strategy can I use to really get the most value? So that's what I'm gonna share with you guys today is my strategy for moving to San Francisco or really whatever community you live in, or if you're going to an event to get the most out of it. The number one, my favorite, this is my funnest thing to do is I sit down between 2 people and I turn to my left and I go, hey, I'm Dan. And they say, hi, I'm John, blah, 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 blah. I'm like, cool, all right. What do you do, et cetera, et cetera. Then I turn to my right and I'm like, hey, I'm Dan. And the person goes, hey, I'm Max, da, 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 da. And I'm like, cool, what do you do? And I go, do you know John? And he's like, oh, no, I don't know John. I just sat here. And I'm like, cool. I introduce them to each other. I've heard this is called a triadic relationship. I'm not sure if that's a real thing. I remember my friend Christine said that. So I do this all the time. When I go for lunch, if I'm by myself at an event, I'll go and I'll sit between 2 people at a table. Again, ask them their name. What do they do? Ask them if they know this person, introduce each other. And it is so crazy how all of a sudden, if you did this, think about this. If there's 500 people at an event and you did this 10 times a day, each day, 2 or 3 day event, you will quickly get to know 20% of the attendees. How crazy is that? And you're gonna walk around and be like, hey, John, hey, Max, how's it going? What's going on? Hey, do you know these people? Hey, you gotta introduce them. I love to do that. And it's funny because I wouldn't, like, some people consider me an extreme extrovert. I didn't always start that way. I was kind of quiet, nerdy, keyboard cowboy, I called myself. And I had to learn these skills, and that's what I wanna share with you. So that's number one, saying hi and introducing that person to somebody else. You can just assume they don't know each other. So that's a really fun thing. The other one is organizing a dinner. Now, sometimes I feel like I'm hijacking the event organizer's events. Usually there's like the daytime event and then there's a nighttime party. What I like to do is organize a dinner in between those 2 events. So I'll just find a restaurant nearby, maybe Mexican, something simple, not too fancy, get a reservation for 6 to 8 people. And then as I'm going through my day and I'm meeting these people left and right, I'm just like, hey, what's your name? Hey, you got any dinner plans? They go, no. I say, well, because here's the thing. You probably don't realize this, but most people like yourself are visiting to attend that event. They may not be local, but even if they are, there's the party afterwards. It probably starts 2 to 3 hours after the event finishes during the day. That's dinner time. Invite them out. And that is just such a great opportunity for you to get to know people on a deeper level. Because really, friendships happen when you have conversations in different time and places. So if you meet them sitting down during a talk and you get to know them there and you invite them to a dinner, then you meet them again at that dinner place and you get to know them there, you introduce them to the 3 or 4 other people that you've brought together, that's where real friendship and trust comes into play. So number 2 was create a dinner at the end of the day after the event. You know, the third thing for me is be a student. When you go to an event, if you want to get the most out of it, is be a student. I always tell people, even though I speak at a lot of events, number 1, I am a student. Number 2, I am a speaker. So as a student, you sit down, notes and paper. I always use physical paper and ideally the same book so that you can have it in one binder, one place, one, kind of, whatever you use, a moleskin, just have it all in one place, take notes, listen attentively to the talks, and try to get things down on paper. So that is a big thing for me, is I'm always attending as a student first. So that's tip number 3. Number 4 is always ask yourself, what are the 3 big things? 3 areas. If you made an investment, let's call it $5,000, flights, tickets to the event, you made a $5,000 investment, ask yourself, what are 3 big things that if I implemented into my business, into my life, into my day, that would generate $5,000+ of value over the next 12 months? That's what I'm looking for. When I'm listening and taking notes, I'm trying to hear what are those 3 strategies that I know if I implement it, I'm gonna get that return. And that's how you get the biggest value out of an event. So that was number 4. 5, my favorite is, what is the one thing that I want to teach other people? And this is the cool part. We live in a world where people are walking around with broadcast tools, iPhones, Periscope, Meerkat, whatever you want, YouTube Live, where you can share what you just learned. So if you're at an event and you're talking to somebody and they share a big idea and you're like, I need to teach this to other people, do that. So with every event I attend, there's one thing that I always write down and say, I'm gonna share this later. Maybe it's with my team, maybe it's with my wife, or I'm gonna share it publicly on Periscope. And I got this idea from listening to nurses talk about how they learn about medical procedures. They actually call it learn one, do one, teach one, right? So think about this. You learn how to do it, you do it, right? The strategy, and then you teach it to other people. And that's a really great way to internalize the new information. So real quick, 5 ways to get the most out of an event. Number 1, say hi, introduce people to each other. Number 2, organize a dinner that night of the event so that you can bring those people together and they should meet each other. Number 3 is write things down on a piece of paper. Don't, like some people want to take out their Evernote and keyboard. There's something really organic around pieces of paper and a pen. Number 4, you want to write down 3 major things that you can implement strategies that's going to generate the return on investment of you being there, the time plus the investment financially to be at the event. And number 5, what's the one thing you're going to teach other people? I really appreciate you guys showing up. If you don't mind, leave me a comment letting me know what's the one out of the 5 that I just shared that you're going to implement next time you go to an event. And if you feel like there's somebody else that needs to watch this video, please share it with them. I want to challenge you guys to live a bigger life and a bigger business, and I'll see you in the next video.